They gonna get what they
get. Really? Really? Oh wait, did you go grab your mug? Yeah, we're just.
I don't even think I have my mug here.
All right, we're live, and I'm also so upset with you. You don't have your mug?
No, you didn't give me that instruction.
It's at the office?
I'm not quite sure about it. Hold on 1 second. Let me go see if I actually have it.
Wait, are you really saying hold up 1 second after you told me to go live and we are now live on Facebook and you say hold up 1 second?
Let's just do it. Hey, it's clearly after 8 p.m. and that means we are a little loony. This is Delegate Aird.
And Delegate, we are at ease with Cia and Lashrecse is what it is.
I never lead. You're supposed to be the one leading. Anyhow, I'm leading tonight because Delegate Price is tired. Okay. And so this is what happens when she puts me in charge of Cia and Lashrecse at ease. Anyhow, good night, good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us. We really are both exhausted.
Absolutely.
It is the very first day of the 2021 session. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure most of you all recognize that the virtual environment in itself is quite draining. Sitting in front of a laptop, it just sucks the energy out of you. And so going through session, already committee meetings today, it was a lot. But we could not let this day pass without coming to you all with a very special first day of the session at ease with Delegate Price and Delegate
and Delegate Aird, can I just ask for the world, can we normalize like resting face on Zooms? Why do y'all ask me what's wrong just because I'm not smiling for 3 hours? And also, can we stop waving at the end of Zooms? I would love for that to be bills next year. Like, I'm so over this.
Everyone, ignore Delegate Price. She is tired. She's going to continue to smile.
But no, seriously. No.
Someone take a screenshot of her with a resting face and using it in a negative way. So now, moments ago, we just completed the annual State of the Commonwealth with Governor Northam, and he made some really specific points. Before we jump into today's session, I just want to draw out some of the statements that he used tonight that were so powerful. So first and foremost, and we'll put a pin in this for now, he did give Delegate Price and I a shout out for our work in maternal health. As many of you all know, we have been working very hard in ensuring that doulas, particularly community doulas, have the supports they need and the financial resources that they need to have greater access to Black and Brown women as a result of the high maternal mortality rates, both here in the Commonwealth and throughout our country. We were able to pass the certified doula legislation last session. And in the interim, they spent a lot of time working through the actual regulations as a result of that legislation. We're excited to now have the investment from the governor to make the actual process of reimbursing doulas work. And you'll see a little bit more even this session on maternal health from both myself, Delegate Price, and a few other members. But in addition to the conversation around maternal health, you know, the governor said something that we have all been dealing with, looking at, trying to find solutions to during the special session, and then just really since the past spring, summer, and fall. And he said the lost cause has continued to be celebrated in Virginia. And if I think about everything we tried to address during the special session, everything we are continuing to fight for and trying to address during this current session, that couldn't be more true. There is so much of Virginia's history and its foundation that we have to rebuild, renew, and tear apart, that it's going to take all of us in a long-term commitment to this work. In addition to that, you know, one of his closing statements was, adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it. And adversity over the last 10 months has revealed the character of our Virginia. And I was so proud to hear him say this because now more than ever, I have seen Virginians come together in such a unified way to support each other during this pandemic. Now, there's some of y'all out there who still aren't wearing a mask, and that's not quite unifying. However, for everyone else, it has been a true testament of how much people care for one another. And the last thing that I will state is, he went through and he thanked our children. And that isn't done enough. Our kids, school age, college age, children, pre K age, they have been through so much. And not only directly by way of the school system and trying to continue to get their education, but their parents, their families, the things that are going on in their household, that directly impacts them and they feel that directly. And so I thought that it was quite special that he took a moment to thank children, because we have not really had a deep focus on how our children are being impacted right now. So that's the state of the Commonwealth. The governor went through a lot of issues, which we'll come and circle back to. But Delegate Price, tell us how the first day of session went. Help the folks out there understand some of the things we addressed. I know one person messaged me and said, "What exactly was that you all took so much time to vote?"
What's happening? No, absolutely. So today was interesting, and if you knew what was going on, but if not, it was just kind of like a lot of dead air. But basically, every time the General Assembly gets together for their first session, we have to come up with the rules that are going to guide us for the entire session. And so, how many days are we meeting? Who's doing what, who's getting paid what, how many bills can we do, what are the deadlines, so that we know what's actually going on and we're all operating under the same rules. Well, constitutionally, we're mandated to meet for 30 days, but for the last 50 years or so, there's been 2/3 vote in order for us to have 45 days in odd number years and then 60 days in even number years. Well, our colleagues on the other side of the aisle did not want to extend to the 45 days, even though the pandemic has exposed even greater need, my humble opinion, that we need all 45 days to get it done. But we didn't get the 2/3 vote for that because of them. So then what we had to do was go to the next option. So it was kind of like a choose your own adventure. If y'all gonna say no to this, then we're gonna try this. So then the next thing that we voted on was actually for it to be a 30-day session, which is along with the constitutional mandate. And then it also allowed for a few things that are the guiding principles for our work. And so, as you know, the House is completely virtual because, global pandemic. And then it also allowed for the Senate, even though they're meeting in person, for there to be some online capability for their members. And so, so some of that was in that bill. That only needed a majority to pass. It ended up passing. And then we had to go on for some other things. Well, there were 3 special elections, meaning that the people were elected on a date other than the date that we were elected. And so they got in after a ton of the deadlines. And so one of those deadlines was getting their bills drafted. So if we hadn't made a change, these 3 new delegates would have only been able to present 2 bills as opposed to the full 7. So there was a provision in there to give them the opportunity to carry the full 7 bills. And then just some other logistical things that we agreed to. So then once we agree to what we're going to do, the Senate has to agree to what they're going to do, and we got to make sure that it matches up. And so that's what some of the starts and stops were, making sure the Senate did what they were doing and we were doing. And so it had to all be on the same page. So we finally got the resolutions passed. We have rules now. And honestly, I fully expect that we're going to be able to get the full 45 days, because what the governor can do, the governor can call us into special sessions, shall we need more time to finish the business. And so, there were points raised about how we shouldn't have a long session this year because we just came out of session. Like, we came out of session with some temporary provisions that a lot of them will end this summer if we don't, or sooner, if we don't if we don't make them permanent or pass new provisions. So the people need what the people need, and we're here to do the work, period.
That is absolutely right. And speaking of some of that work, there were several high high impact and relatively important policy measures that Governor Northam called on in his speech tonight. And furthermore, we had been talking about these things since the special session and for a few weeks. And so just to draw your attention to some of the things that we will be focused on during the session, and Delegate Price and I will continue to talk about these things as we continue to have at eases. But he talked about the grade machines. As you know, this was a hugely controversial decision during the 2020 session prior to us making the change during the, I guess that was the reconvenes, during the reconvene session and or the special session. And so now here we are deciding what are we going to do with these revenues, and how we're going to, from a policy standpoint, choose to treat the use of these grade machines here in the Commonwealth. Most of the monies that have been received to date, they have had a significant impact in many places around the Commonwealth. And so this will be a tough decision to make. But our small businesses, as the governor said, are in dire need, and they will be a key element to help and strengthen our economy and our local communities. In addition to that, he talked about the vaccine. Making that decision to get the vaccine when it becomes available to you is going to be one of the first ways to create that community protection that's needed to stop the spread of COVID-19. And so continuing to monitor what's happening in your local community when it becomes available, what category you're in, and when you're able to actually go and receive it. That's just going to be critical. And he talked a little bit about that. And directly linked to that are our schools. When will our children be able to go back to school in person? And it absolutely is intrinsically linked to our teachers not only getting the protections that they need, but continuing to have the resources within the schools to be safe and to monitor what's happening among the children there. And then I'll highlight one thing that everyone is talking about, which is marijuana decriminalization and legalization, how we're going to treat expungement, how we are going to ensure, basic civil rights through a number of bills that we have this session. So that there is just going to be so many various issues to cover and to discuss that we're going to need your help to do it. Delegate Price, you often remind folks of how they can engage, how they can track what we're doing. Why don't you give them that regular reminder that we always try and make sure they have?
Yeah, absolutely. And this year, because it's so different, Tempest and I, my chief of staff and I actually did a webinar, and and we re-recorded. So I'll drop the link on how you can get to that with some tips. But public comment is now easier and more accessible than ever. So when we have 7 o'clock meetings and 9 o'clock meetings, if we were meeting in person, in order for you to, say in front of the committee what it is that you had to say, you had to make your way to Richmond. And so now what you can do is use HOD Speak, which is HOD speak.house.virginia, and we'll drop that link as well. And up to an hour before, I've been hearing people say 4 hours. So let's say up to 4 hours before a meeting, you can request to speak during that meeting to give live testimony in support or opposition of a bill. You can also use the same website to give written comment. These are public. And so you want to make sure that you only include information that you want the whole public to know. But it's still like a great way for us to hear from folks that, because of childcare needs or lack of transportation, or, for whatever reason, they couldn't just come to Richmond and hang out with us. You now have that opportunity to still speak publicly on the bill. So that's one. We're still checking emails and answering the phones. Like, that didn't change. So a lot of the complaints that this is inaccessible, I definitely get that for those that need the infrastructure for broadband, but that's another reason for us to continue our work, because that's a priority of our budget. And then accessibility for broadband and wireless, so I get that, but in general, it is more accessible than it has ever been before. So you got phone calls, you got emails, you got, offices. A lot of us are even using online scheduling tools so that you can have Zoom meetings with us, just like you would if you were coming to our office. So it depends on who your delegate and senator are and how they're running their office, but the engagement opportunities are there. And so don't forget, just so you can save your feelings, we're going to have short meetings. That's it. We're about to share our screen, and we're going to show you what the schedule looks like. But 15 minutes is generous when it comes to the number of people that are trying to talk to us, but then also you trying to communicate your message. Tell us yes or no for the bill. Tell us why it impacts you and why you are taking time out of your day to speak up on it. And then what the impact is to the community. Get that done very, very quickly, and to the point. And that is how you can kind of maximize those meetings. The other part is too, I don't know about Delegate Air, but I have 4 committees and 5 subcommittees. One of those subcommittees I chair. So that is 9 meetings at least, because 2 of my committees meet twice a week. So we're upwards of like 10, 11 meetings, and it's just they're 2 hours each. And so we don't have a lot of time available. So get used to speaking with our staff, and they do a wonderful job of communicating the message with us. But the point is, the opportunities are there for you to engage, and we really need to hear from you. Sometimes, Delegate Aird and I will be fighting for a bill, and then behind us is crickets, during session. This is the opportunity. If y'all like what y'all heard during the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus press conference this morning, don't just give hearts and thank yous on Facebook. Like, sign up, tell the public you support us, and testify on how these bills could impact you and your family. That is super, super meaningful.
And more importantly, talk to the people who are not in agreement with you. If this is a policy that you agree with, we don't need to hear that from you. We need you to tell the legislator who is trying to hold up moving something forward, how this can impact their community and why it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll drop that link. It's a whole email of tips and tricks on how to engage during session.
Well, as we said, we just wanted to jump on here, touch base with you all, let you know about the State of the Commonwealth Address and what you can expect moving forward. This will not be our last at ease. We would not do that to you. Of course, we will be back. And so thank you for joining us, and have a
Well,
good
Delegate Aird, you kind of undersold that a little bit. like, I know we tired, but this is about us, right? Okay. So y'all, we are committing to at least a weekly at ease, even if we're not technically at ease because we adjourned for the day, but really an opportunity to check in. And our brains are fried right now, but the next ones, we promise, will have lots of question and answer, lots of opportunity for you to engage. We'll talk about the bills that we're carrying. We'll talk about the bills that we care a lot about and may need some help with. Neither Delegate Aird or I have ever found our way to an easy bill. So we are working on some big issues. Like, we are literally trying to change the Commonwealth for the better. So we definitely need the help, but we do commit to coming to you at least once a week.
Yeah, we are overly ambitious, so hold us to that.
Absolutely. But yeah. But we have votes at 7 a.m. Some of us. So
Yeah, tomorrow my first meeting is at 7 a.m. So
yeah, I had the privileges and elections a half an hour after adjournment today, and we passed 2 really, really, really good elections bills, which we'll talk about, voting rights, education, all of the areas where we're working. But yeah, 7 a.m. is going to come pretty quickly. So
you all get some rest, and until next time.
all right, bye y'all.